Hello everyone, this is Grimbacore here. Today I'm going to be going through why I think that you should consider Goldar for your next team and why he's a good choice in pretty much any team. So there's four main reasons why I think Goldar's a great choice. Firstly, he has very good buttons. This 5M here is plus on block. I think it's like +4 on block, roughly. It also leaves you in carry throw range. He has a very good carry throw, for that matter. As you can see, he travels an insane distance by cancelling 5M into the throw. So you can be doing things like checking them with 5M and confirming into a throw, which is great. His 2L also converts into it pretty nicely, like that. His 2L is also, it reaches a lot further than it seems, and it's pretty good. This is also a very plus button. The only button that's pretty bad is this. It's 5H. The rest of them are pretty good. It's the collection of the whole thing, so like being able to bully people with 5M, check them. He also has a very good anti-air. It kind of covers a nice arc in front of him. So he hits quite high. So he's pretty safe from that sort of a character that wants to, jump over him. So the second main reason to play Goldar is his mix. He has very good jab reset. From here he has a 2L. He has a 6M which links into a 5L. And he also has a throw. Naturally. Like most characters with their resets. They got low throw, but he also has the overhead hit. This also does work mid-screen. So you can go for the 2L from mid-screen, and it's a left or right. You can also go 2L into carry throw. So you can go here, hit or not, you can go into a carry throw from there. The only thing I will say is that if you're doing this, I'm not confident that 6M, side swap 6M is frame 1. So just be very careful. You've got to be very sure that they're not going to EX. And I would honestly recommend, if you're side swapping, only to do 2L or throw. So Goldar from the mix also, because he has a standing overhead, has an unblockable. And this is probably your go-to when playing with Goldar. If you have an assist up, you're going for the unblockable. You want to save that meter. So while Goldar has great mix, he has great buttons, his damage is actually his weakest component. So while a lot of people will talk about how Goldar does all this damage and Goldar does way too much damage, he actually only does 700 damage without any meter to start. With 1 meter, it's just over 800. With 2 meter, it's just over 920. And with 3 meter, you do get your full kill, you do get your full 1000 damage, but it doesn't kill 1100 health characters. However, he does, as you just heard there, he does scale very well with meter. And what else does he scale very well with? He scales well with assist, and pretty much every assist in the game. As you can see here. Because every single assist gives him about, on top of the assist damage, probably about an extra 150 damage, I want to say. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the way that this works is that 6M stumps. If you've already used your ground bounce, which this does, so here, we just hit them with the 6M. Now if you use an assist at the same time, which I go through in my combo video, you can extend pretty much any assist in the game to add more damage for Goldar. Now some of them require different timings. It's just this team that I have at the moment, you basically just press 6M plus assist, and it's auto-timed, which is kind of cute. Assists really help Goldar's damage, and it helps him build more and more meter, which allows him to finish things with EX or super. So one of the things I'll say is he doesn't do a lot of damage. However, he does do well with resources. So lastly, and probably the best reason to pick Goldar, in my opinion, is his assist. It is absolutely nuts. You see this? It charges forward, it staggers. It goes a very good distance, and it's easy, super easy to confirm into a combo. So let's show this armor off. I missed. There you go, you see that blue flash? That is 1 hit of armor, and that is the most that he has. One of the cool things about the armor from the assist is that you can actually perform actions during the armor. So here, I tried to do a throw. I think I could do it a little bit better though. You see that? During the armor stun itself, I was able to perform a throw.
And that to me is just absolutely incredible. There's nothing you can do about that, really. It also allows you to perform lows, but I think Carry Throw is a very good one to use. But it's just something to keep in mind that, like, during the armor hit itself, that you can actually perform actions. It's incredibly easy to punish through that armor hit. So the fourth reason to play Goldar is his air game. I'm sure all of us have been menaced by these buttons here. You know, the JH, the JM, which can cross up or doesn't cross up, and it hits seemingly all the time from all the different places in the map. And you've got the 2 thick, which is really good at calling out bad anti-airs. And I don't mean bad as in badly timed, I just mean bad anti-airs. Blue is actually one of the characters who has a decent anti-air for dealing with Goldar, as you can see here. But one of the nice things is that he has the Swoop, which I've been demonstrating. So these buttons on their own, like, he has kind of a floaty jump. It's not that bad compared to some characters. However, the Swoop allows him to take control and alter the timing and trajectory of his jump buttons. So what do I mean by this? So if we go 4 bars back, so you can see where Goldar's front foot is, he's 4 bars from the middle, and we do JSH, you can see he lands roughly between the first and the center. But if you leave it to cancel as late as possible, you'll see that he will travel much further forward. And we even hit from that distance, which is kind of insane. Considering how far away, you should not be expected to be hit by air buttons from this distance, right? Especially an air button that's a H starter and leads into a full combo, which gives Goldar a lot of extra damage. So one of the other things is that because of the way that he can control his air buttons, it's actually possible to stuff certain anti-airs. And that's just mostly because the bad ones. Something like the toothpick's really great. When you get that full sweep angle, it's pretty much in the same direction as the sword, which means that, like, it's a very disjointed hitbox. You often trade with anti-airs. A button like JH, it can hit at such an angle where anti-airs aren't going to reach his hurt box. The other thing as well is that when you're doing it this far, you can also just land short and whiff punish. So one of the cool things about Goldar JH is that it kind of like tucks up his hurt box. It makes it very hard to hit him in some respects, but it also allows him to side swap without being hit sometimes, which is kind of cool. So let's give it a go. There we go, first try. So it's not always perfect. It's actually a lot harder to do when they're flush to the corner. There you go, and again. So when they're a little bit out the corner, which is quite normal for for a corner situation, they may have come forward a little bit. It actually makes it a lot easier to side swap, and it allows you to just get a really easy whiff punish. It also allows you to, like, throw in an assist and get a combo from there. But just keep that in mind, is that JH actually side swaps. It can also cross up overhead like 1 in 100 times against other tool characters, but I wouldn't rely on that as a strategy since it got nerfed. So the main downside for Goldar is unfortunately his size, and I mean that both in his height and his mobility. And that is his mobility outside of his air buttons. So I'll go over the height thing quickly. Basically, because of his height, he is very susceptible to instant overheads, such as this. And when you pair this with an assist, it creates a very hard to block situation for Goldar, and it's easy for your opponent to use assist plus instant overhead to get full combos. So the second thing is his movement. You can see as I'm dashing forward, if I press a button, it doesn't come out until the end of his dash. It's the same for his backdash, but his backdash is quicker. And it's also not a very fast dash in either direction. With his backdash, you can cancel it into crouch. And what this means is that if you repeatedly backdash and crouch, like that, you can cover distance very quickly. Backdash, crouch, backdash, crouch, backdash, crouch. His forward dash can be plink dashed, and it's not the best plink dash in the game. But you can see, like, if you just dash forward, it's very slow. Like this, right? But if you plink dash, you can easily cover 2 dashes pretty quickly. And when you pair that with a carry throw, you know, it's a nice way to quickly approach and threaten a throw. So how do I choose to play Goldar? So I like to play my Goldar quite grounded. There's some Goldars who like to, you know, do a lot of jump buttons, and they're right for doing so because it's very hard to anti-air them.
However, I like to try and keep him grounded. It's just my preference. I like checking with 5M a lot, staying around about this distance, because it allows you to respond to jump-ins with either one of two anti-airs, these two. It also allows you to back up quite quickly and stay safe, and it allows you to come in, get your throw. You can even just go 2 Kara throws in to catch him, and it allows you to, get good air attacks in quickly. So that's how I choose to play. Generally, that's the distance I want to be keeping. With the air buttons themselves, if you hit with JL, you always follow up with 2L. So hit him with the toothpick, 2L, do 2L into Kara throw. Highly recommend it because the toothpick doesn't always combo. You have to kind of hit him quite low in order for it to combo. So I would recommend just, if you hit him with toothpick, just do a tick throw. So that's just 2L, wait a bit, Kara throw from there. One of the important things is, if you get your opponent into the corner, you want to stay in this distance. You want to stop them from coming out the corner with 5M. And if they jump, if I can program blue to jump. So if they jump, it's the perfect distance to catch them with that 4S anti-air. So if your opponent's quite used to up-backing, like they're scared of you throwing, they're scared of your 5M, and they choose to up-back, it's such a quick response to be able to just go 4S and catch them from there. So when you get into the corner, stay here. You want to try and keep them threatened and try and bait them into that jump. And I find it works really well. So one of the things you can do actually to encourage this is something like throw out an assist and just do jump buttons at them. Yeah, if you steal the corner, that's another thing as well. You can just steal the corner and go for that cross up and catch them on a whiff punish. But generally speaking, you want to like throw 1 or 2 air buttons, and then as soon as they're used to trying to protect themselves from like high lows, because remember, each of these can go straight into a low. Yeah, so your opponent's going to naturally want to start chicken blocking this stuff, and this is what they do. They will jump. When they jump, 4S. So lastly, make sure you use Goldar's resets. And this is just because without the resources, he's not going to have the damage to kill people, so you need to get used to using those resets. And most importantly, make sure you use those unblockables as well. So in the corner here, you've got the reset from there. If they're in the corner, you can do it off of the OTG with 6M. And if you're outside the corner, you can often do it off of JH, and if you're close enough with the JH, you can do a side swap as well. So those are the 3 places you want to do the resets. So the last thing I want to cover is its incoming game. So because of JL can be cancelled into JS, into his swoop moves, you can do some pretty nice stuff, for example, like that. So that was an instant overhead, right? That can cross up. And you can choose which attack you do as well, and also how long you wait for that move to come out. And that's just a really great way to do an incoming when you're solo with Goldar. It's meaty, so your opponent has to respect it, and when you land, you can go straight here into a throw. You go straight into a throw if you like. Just keep them guessing. It's very stressful for your opponent. The other thing you can do is you can into a different character, and Goldar's JS is an overhead if you're unaware. Just if you let it rock, it's an overhead. So one of the things you can do is tag into another character. Goldar will often reach the other side of the opponent, and you just need a low from your character on the other side. So assists that work well with Goldar are projectile assists like Sentry, and assists that can hit from full screen quite quickly, such as Scorpina. Now both of these are good because in the case of Sentry, it allows you to do an approach like JM, and as I said before, because of varying your time in when you cancel into JM, you can pick a left-right and they can't anti-air, so they just have to block. Scorpion is much the same, except for if you get the hit, you can just easily stabilize the combo with 5M into 4S. So dealing with assists is one of the rougher parts of Goldar's kit. However, 4S is a good way of dealing with this. The only thing I'll say is that it is kind of slow, so doing it on reaction often gets you hit like this. So you got to be kind of ready for it early. But the nice thing about it is because it's quiet, it's got quite a lot of range. You can often hit people out of startup animations. This is also kind of nice for dealing with assists from full screen. Because while you're doing this, you can just hit assists from full screen. So if they got assists like Jen or something, or a Scorpina perhaps, hitting them with this is kind of nice. It also gives you an assist advantage as well. So I hope you've got something out of this video. This is an overview of how I play Goldar, the things that I know about Goldar, and just generally how I approach the character. I recommend you give him a try. He's a very beginner-friendly character because his combos are very short. He's also a character that can stay in teams for a very long time because he's a very good high-tier character. If you have any questions or would like to share anything that you know about Goldar and you feel like that I've missed, feel free to drop them into the comments, and yeah, just let us know, because share the information, because Lord knows we need it. Have a good evening and goodbye.